This is the actual sound of a nebula. You've likely heard that you can't hear anything in space, but just because you may not be able to hear it with your own ears doesn't mean that the universe isn't making sounds. Two black holes emerging, pulsars, gas giants, our sun, and even our own planet all make sounds. So today, we're gonna find out exactly what they sound like. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. If space is a vacuum, then sound can't travel through it. But this is a popular misconception. While much of space is void of any gas or medium that sound waves need to travel, sound can be interpreted through things like radio waves in pockets of gas within nebulas, solar systems, or even around black holes. Many times the frequency is far too low for humans to hear, so most of these sounds you'll hear in this video had to be dramatically increased in pitch so we could hear it. Now, you've already heard what a nebula sounds like, but what about an active black hole? This is the eerie and haunting howl sound of gas swirling around and emanating from a supermassive black hole at the center of the Perseus galaxy cluster over 240 million light years away. Now, while active black holes sound pretty terrifying, what about when two black holes circle each other and eventually merge into one? Well, it turns out it's surprisingly underwhelming. Yep, that's it. Here, I'll let you listen to it again. And as terrifying as the gas swirling around the black hole sounds, the sound of the black holes themselves merging is sort of adorable. All right, so let's go a little closer into our own backyard and listen to our favorite ringed planet, Saturn. This sound was captured by the Cassini spacecraft going over its poles where the hexagonal-shaped storm swirls around. Now, what you're hearing is an audio sonification of its electromagnetic waves as the Cassini spacecraft travels over its poles, as well as the winds barreling around the oddly shaped storm. But that's not the only thing that makes sound in our own solar system. Our sun, a gigantic ball of burning plasma with coronal ejections larger than our own planet erupting out from the star, forever burning and bubbling, that too makes a sound. The low rumbling is not only an interpretation of the sun's magnetic field, but it's also the sound of the plasma swirling and the light particles being ejected from the surface. Now, before we go back out into deep space to listen to one of my favorite and most insane sounds that the universe makes, did you know that our own planet makes a sound? The sounds you are hearing are made by energetic particles whipping around the Earth's plasmasphere, which are being tugged around from the rotation of the Earth's magnetic field. Lastly, we come to my favorite and craziest sound in space. That comes from a pulsar. These are highly magnetized neutron stars that emit beams of electromagnetic radiation out of its poles. These stars are basically the universe's clocks as they spin in precise intervals for billions of years. Now, what you're hearing might not sound too crazy, but keep in mind that every pop and beat that you're hearing is the sound of a half rotation of that pulsar, as the pops are those beams that are crossing our direction, so every two that you hear, the neutron star is making a full rotation. And the crazy thing is that this one isn't even really all that fast when it comes to pulsars. And when you consider that pulsars have a higher mass than our sun and are compacted and condensed down to about a 12-mile radius on average, the thought of something that large and heavy spinning that fast is what makes pulsars one of the craziest things that I've ever seen in space. The universe is enormous and filled with an endless amount of things that make noise. And as scary as it sounds to be in space without any air, it's a really good thing that there isn't, because if there was, the universe would be so loud that none of us would be able to hear ourselves think.